Being in financial distress is not always related to one single event. Many times it's the impact of minor bad decisions over a long period of time that can be the cause.
Andy Mattingly is talking about his top 5 bad habits to change for increased financial success.
All right, so let's talk about the first item on your list. You're saying is having that daily habit that might be a little too expensive?
Yeah, and there's a couple of good examples. Smoking or that extra large latte you have to have every day.
I knew you were going to say the coffee. I knew you were going to say the coffee.
Those can cost you, from $7 to $10 a day. If you look that over a year, that's $2,500 to $3,600 a year on those habits.
And are there other costs besides paying for that habit?
Yeah, for example, a smoker is going to pay 3 times as much for life insurance as a non-smoker. And then you may have some other medical expenses with that.
So there's some minor things. Irresponsible credit card use is one of them. So how do we control that bad habit?
Limit the number of cards in your wallet. Pick one that you're going to use every day and set a budget for it. Track that balance on there so you can pay it off every month. That's the first step in solving that problem.
How do you feel about just cutting them up?
You can cut them up if you want.
Done that before.
A lot of people would want to do, well, I'm not making a big purchase, I'm just making a bunch of small purchases, but you say that's not a good idea.
Yeah, that's you really want to have one big purchase where you go, because then you're less likely to add things on, and you know what you're spending. You go and spend $20, but 10 of it, you go to the grocery store to get one thing, you pick up 3 other things that you don't really need, and before you know it, you've spent a lot more than you expected.
Why is it so detrimental? I mean, it's tiny, but it's got really big impact.
Because it adds up. At the end of the week, you look and you're like, I didn't realize I spent this much money. It's that financial death by 1,000 cuts type of scenario.
That doesn't sound fun.
Yes.
Buying a new car, that you say that could be good and bad, depending what you do.
Yeah, if you buy a car less than every 2 years, a new car, what happens is your payment just starts creeping up. It's $10 this year, and then a couple years later, you go up another $20. Before you know it, in 5-6 years, you've got a much bigger car payment than you probably really can afford, but you just incrementally went up.
When I traded mine in most recently, I realized I did it just like a week after I made my most recent payment. I was like, oh no, I lost all the money in that last payment, so I wasn't thinking about it.
All right, number 1 on your list, though, is that sort of hoping for the best. So you like to really see it on the paper. This is what's happening. Talk about how we overcome that hoping for the best mentality.
Yeah, one of the things is a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to worry about it. It'll all work out. But it doesn't work out. That's kind of a bad habit to have. So you want to plan, educate yourself, work with a professional, set a budget. Those are ways that you can overcome those things.
A lot of these are small. They will snowball. If somebody looks at the list and they're checking off all the boxes, first response would probably be to ignore it and pretend it didn't happen, but what really should they do?
Well, really start with the top one, which is set a plan. Because if you set a plan and you put a budget, you'll see what the impact the other 4 things are doing to your finances, and it'll help you decide, I need to stop that. The truth kind of helps you go the right direction.
All right, Andy, where can people find you if they have all these questions for you from these tips?
At forumcu.com.
Merry Christmas to you, Andy.
Oh, thank you too.
Thank you. All right.